Well, you know, I think that if I try to think about it, and you know, talking is like trying talking's like trying to.
You probably had bad news. You probably had bad news so far.
You made him cry.
Because I do, like, I want people to like me, you know. So, but it could, but you know, I think that often when people don't like things, it's a sign that they, you know, that they like them so much that it's difficult to you know. People say that hate and love are, you know, more or less the same thing, you know. But I could try. I don't know. You know, I don't really, because I think that this is my website. So I could show you some photos of some things that I've tried to make. I don't really. But to try to talk about things that I've done or tried to do, or that I think that I've done, you know, think it. Like, to me, talking about things is always something that's self, you know, and it's not so. And everything is something in itself. You can't really. So talking about something is like is not the thing itself, but something in itself, you know. So. But nevertheless, I could try to talk about some work. Or I could do I need to do that?
Yeah. Song, we want a song.
Yeah, I could do a song. I could also. There's also, I don't know. Just going to tune this up. I think the best way, I think that, you know, I want to be free, you know, and I want to be free, and I'd like to be able to do, you know, whatever I want at all times, and I was thinking that, like, to me, like, the best type of performance or live show would be one, you know, in which you don't have to decide what you're going to do, you know, because, like, for example, if you do a talk, and then, you know, if you announce that it's a talk, then, you know, which I guess was this announced as a talk, or aye, you know. Then there's going to, you know, you're going to expect me to talk probably, and then I'm going to feel I have to talk, because if I don't, you know, you might get bored or whatever, and then that you know, I think the best kind of talking is the talking that you do. The best kind of anything is something you do, you know, because you want to do it, not because you feel like you're kind of being forced into it, you know. And so I was thinking an ideal type of performance would be one where, you know, you could talk or not talk, or do play music or not play music, you know, or dance or not dance, or and I've been trying to work on something like that, like a show. It's a show I've been doing ballet dancers and with my band as well. And one of the ideas of that is to try, like every time we go on stage, is to try to go on remembering that we don't have to do anything. No. So we kind of rehearse stuff and practice it, but then we don't like arrange the order in which it's done. We kind of make that up at the time, you know. And I'm trying to work it out anyway. Because often, I remember, you know, I often feel like it's the same with, I remember going to see a symphony orchestra last year, or 2 years ago, at the Barbican. And the best bit, it was a Steve Reich thing. I don't know if you know his music, but it's quite geometric, repetitive music that kind of builds up. And the best bit of the concert, I thought, was a bit where after the interval, the conductor came on, and then he suddenly realised that two people from the audience two people from the orchestra, you know, weren't on stage. You know, so then he sort of turned around to the audience and explained to them that the two of the people weren't there, so they couldn't start, you know. And everyone was laughing, and he went off to try and find them, you know, and came back on. And then eventually the two guys came on, and everybody clapped. And I thought it was the best bit of the concert. Because, you know, probably because it was spontaneous and it was unplanned, you know, and it was accidental. And I don't know how you know, I've got no idea how you could sort of try to do that, because you can't plan that. You know, you couldn't, I don't know how you know, I don't know. It just seems to me like all the best things are like that, you know. It'd be like going out, you know, like planning what you're going to say, you know, is just you know, anytime I've ever planned what I was going to say, I always thought it was just, you know, rubbish, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. So I wish I could work out a way to try to do things, you know, more like accidentally, you know. Because I don't think it's possible to control yourself, you know. I think that people, you know, it's really obvious when you look at other people, and maybe when you look at some people more than others, it's really obvious that they've got no idea, you know, what it is that they're doing, you know. and you know, I just think it's impossible to control yourself, you know, because I don't know, I mean, I kind of like, you can't be aware, really, of everything, you know. So I don't know if it's possible to kind of do your thing in any kind of controlled way, you know. I don't know about that. But I think I go around like trying to control things all the time, you know, because I feel, you know, out of control. You know. But, now I think I'm talking too much. I'll try and do a song. This is a song where I tried to. It was one of the first times I tried to write lyrics that were. It was the first lyrics I wrote were just numbers, like counting, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, numbers. And I thought that numbers were good lyrics because they didn't really say anything. You know, numbers don't say anything, but it's kind of like a story, you know, that develops, but it's not specifics. It's like an abstract story, you know, if you count up numbers. But I tried to. This song I'm going to do is I tried to write. I just thought it was boring, you know. I thought I'll try and write about feelings, you know. I'll try and write about how I feel, because I thought that I think that feelings, you know, are the most important things I was thinking that I don't know how I feel, you know, a lot of the time. Or a lot of the time when I'm like in a live situation, like if I meet someone or whatever, you know, I get carried away with the moment, and it's only later that I think, I kind of realise what I feel about it, you know. So I was thinking, I don't know how I feel, you know, but probably other people can see how I feel, you know, by my body language or whatever, you know, much better than me. So I thought if I want to try to write about how I feel, then maybe the best thing to do is to write the opposite of what I feel, or the opposite of what I think I feel, because then, or what I feel, you know, because then maybe it will be closer to how I really feel, you know, based on the fact that I don't know usually how I feel. So I tried to write a song, writing down the opposite of what I felt. It's called I Like Things. So, any questions?
What sort of things do you like then?
Words that I didn't like. That was a problem. All things really. Why? You know, because I don't know, but I still wake up in the morning. Most times when I wake up in the morning, I don't feel good. You know, I don't know if anyone else gets that, but often I just wake up just feeling sick, you know.
Is that a hangover or is it just normal?
No, not a hangover. No, not a hangover. I'm not talking about hangover. I'm talking about just feeling sick and feeling like it's really difficult to get dressed and, you know, to motivate myself. I think that's one of the most difficult things, is to motivate yourself. And that, I think a good way to try to, a good way to try to do it is just to kind of jump off the cliff, metaphor, into the water. And then you have to just try and swim. You know. Because doing things, I think that, doing things, you know, doing things is, I lost it. Oh yeah. I feel like I don't. I feel like I can't. I feel like I can't remember things. You know. And you know, so, and I feel, you know, I feel like a goldfish. People say that a goldfish don't have a memory, you know.
I think it's more than 3 seconds long, isn't it?
What?
More than 3 seconds long, the goldfish.
It is more
or less than.
Less than.
Less than.
That's 7, yeah.
Less.
7.
Because more than 3 seconds long,
I
that's pretty
disagree.
good.
No.
I disagree.
But less than 3, no, it's not so good. I feel like that, you know, but I feel like that in going out in the world, you know, like I don't, and that's why I do shows, you know, because I like doing exhibitions. I don't know if I like trying to do them. I mean, I want to do them. I think that's the only way I kind of find out about my work, you know, is by doing shows in the world, you know, and it's not, and every time I do a show, it's like, you know, it's like I've forgotten, you know, what the reason is that you do that, you know.
Do you remember what show you're doing at Vancouver?
Yeah, I can, because I'm going there next week.
Oh right, so maybe you can tell us about it.
Yeah, where are you? I can't see you. Is that you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I can tell you about it. Oh yeah, good idea. I can show you. So next week, I'm doing this show in Vancouver, which is a show of it's a show of work that is owned by this collector called Bob Rennie, who is a big art collector, big in the sense of owning a lot of big works. He's actually quite, you know, reasonably so, and then he's a nice guy. But yeah, so if I go, yeah. Maybe. This guy, does this work? This guy owns work of mine. It's an exhibition of work he owns. It's an exhibition. Can you hear me? I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I am not just. He owns work, so it's an exhibition of work that he owns, and so I didn't choose the work. But so it's going to have, so the work that he owns is, for example, was the one was the running one?
Oh, the one that you did at the tape?
Yeah.
How does that work? How does he, he doesn't buy the runners?
No.
Maybe the idea.
What?
That would be really good though.
They should be on my website. Well, that's an earlier version of it. No, but it's like it's just, I think of a piece like, so I don't know if in this piece people run past the way I did it was I calculated how long it took for one person to run as fast as they could through the space. And that was about between 12 and 15 seconds. This is the first time it was exhibited I'm talking about, and so then the people ran, so then I took that amount of time, 15 seconds, and then I doubled it so there was a 15-second rest between each runner. And so then every 30 seconds someone runs through the space, and with this little rest between each event. And but the way I look at that, you know, is I don't think that it's any different from a painting or a sculpture. To look at, you know, it's all your, because you're there's something being presented for you to look at, and the fact that it happens, the fact that the thing that's being presented is moving, is to me, you know, a small detail of what's happening. So trying to answer that question, it's not any different from a painting. You know, a painting is a collection of colours and shapes, and so is this. You know, in order to display a painting, you have to get nails and hang it on the wall, and in order to display this, you have to, you know, have trained runners running through the space every 30 seconds, or however many seconds it is. You know, but it came. This work came about from kind of thinking that I was thinking about, like, well, I was kind of thinking that, you know, when you look at something, it always looking at something is always like a kind of moving sort of kinetic experience, you know. Because if you think that you're always moving around, so if there's a painting here and you're here, you're, you know, kind of like that. And then, so the combined experience between you and the painting is one that happens in movement, you know. So if you're here and someone's running past, it's still in movement, so it's not really that different. So what I thought I was doing with this running thing was trying to do a wee experiment where, with the movement of the work. So instead of the work being slower, like mostly the spectators move faster than the work, you know. And in this case, I thought it'd be good to try and reverse that and have the work moving faster than the spectators, you know. Also, because I kind of like, you know, one of the things about I always think that looking at things is funny, because if something's a static object, you know, to look at, it's you that, you know, it's you that decides the beginning and end of looking at it, you know. And I kind of find that often really like kind of self-conscious, you know, like if I go to a gallery and I'm looking at the, you know, I get like, if I decide I want to go see that work or whatever it is, and then I get there in front of the work, and it feels really self-conscious to be suddenly like, okay, right, this is it, like now this is it, this is the painting, this is the experience of looking at painting, you know. It's really kind of self-conscious. And then, so I thought maybe if the work just runs past, it means it's more like, it's visual, but it's more like music or something like that, something that happens. And then you don't, and it kind of lets you go. It happens, you know, and then it's gone, and it's not. And then, well, in the case of this, it happens again. Then, you know, so that, for the reason so that people can, if they just come in the gallery, can see it. But aye.
The total is 850.
Is it? Okay. Aye. So. The thing, I did this one 500, this is the first time I did the runners, and then but this was kind of people sort of jogging, and then it was a couple of years later when I did the tape thing, and then by that time I thought that it was a bit boring, the jogging was just not exciting enough really, you know. And I thought if someone's going to be moving, they ought to be moving as fast as they possibly can, and anything else would just be, you know, kind of, you know, not good enough really. So often those kind of works like that, quite often they're in progress for a long time, you know, like that was quite a few years, you know. I was working on different variations until I finally did the Tate, one at the Tate, where they were running really fast and I felt like it was more kind of finished, you know.
It did scare quite a lot of people, I think. When I was
really?
there, I was taking photographs of people's expressions when the runners went past.
Alright.
Because you could just hear the feet coming up behind you, and then people like look really like, because they don't expect runners to be running in a gallery. People to be running in a gallery.
Yeah, in fact, usually be told to stop running.
Yeah.
Have you ever given your work titles other than work number?
Yeah.
When did you start number?
Yeah, I do. I started doing the numbers because I thought that just to take away the need for titles, you know. But and to try and treat everything sort of the same, whether it was a small work or a big work.
Do you find the titles problematic then?
Yeah, I did. Well, I have done. Yeah, but I do. I mean, some of them have titles. I mean, like these ones usually are titled with the same. You see that? With the same. The title is the same as what the work says. You know. But I do find titles often problematic, or I did when I started. I mean, now I think sometimes there's good titles, but if it feels like the title's like trying, often it feels like the title's like trying too hard to give a meaning to our work, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think it's a bit wanky, you know? And then so that's going to be on show in Vancouver. Do you think I should keep going with this Vancouver thing, or is that?
Is that your song?
Oh yeah, I could do another song. And that's some more, that's another bit of Vancouver-y stuff. This guy owns, he owns, this guy owns that one of these broccoli. They're made with broccoli. I get into those broccoli prints, they're the broccoli prints. I got into that because I got asked to. I don't know if I got asked to do it. No, it was I did a 7-inch single, and I was trying to think of a cover, and I thought that a broccoli like that is, would fit exactly on a 7-inch thing. So I just made a print, with cutting it in half and doing that like a potato print. But with broccoli, and I thought it was nice, I thought I liked it. I liked it, it's just like a tree, And then I just got really into the whole broccoli print thing. So I really like broccoli. It's my favourite vegetable. So this guy in Vancouver commissioned a series of 1,000 broccoli prints. Everyone is a different colour. So I used all different paints, of all kinds, like oil, watercolour, and what have you. It was a really big production.
What did you do with the broccoli after?
Well, we just kind of threw it. Because it's spoiled with ink and paint and stuff.
Did you ever try cauliflower?
What?
Did you ever try cauliflower?
No, I didn't try cauliflower. No, I prefer broccoli.
Yeah, turn it. See you then. Don't forget me.
If you're feeling bad and your thoughts are sad, pass them on to someone else. Pass them on, pass them on, pass them on, pass them on. Pass your bad feelings on, pass them on. Pass them on, pass them on, pass them on. Pass them on.
Is that your mantra? Thinking, not thinking?
Aye, well, I think so. No, because it seems like, you know, that is what life consists of, you know. And oftentimes, but I think that the not thinking part is the, like, that seems like most of life, you know. And then you spend time thinking and kind of like desperately trying to. Thinking is like, seems to me like desperately trying to deal with the fact that you don't think most of the time, you know, and that you're just a kind of like animal, you know, or a plant.
Broccoli.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just feel like, you know, because we're all just like.
What did you learn at art school? If you could unlearn, what would you wish to unlearn?
Unlearn? Oh my God.
been?
Wish I'd
I
gone.
think that anyone that tell any, well, I hate being told what to do. So, but being told how to do things, you know, I don't like that. But I didn't particularly get told that at art school. I liked going to art school. I liked art school. I liked it. I mean, I had a good time, you know. I really
This
did.
it.
What?
This it. Go on.
Sick. What did you say? Just say it.
This it.
This it.
Yeah.
I thought you said the sick. I thought you said just say it.
Either really.
But you know, I didn't go to this art school. But also, I don't have no feeling I should or shouldn't, you know, like art school. If you see what I mean.
How did you become successful?
Ah.
Or how do you think you can become successful?
Yeah.
Make us successful, basically.
I wouldn't like to say that I am successful. But,
Oh dear.
but if you mean how do I come to be having shows and stuff like that,
Yeah.
just through not, well, I just did not want to get a job. I didn't, when I left art school, I went on the dole. You could go on the dole then, you know, and be unemployed and get kind of unemployment benefit. And that's what I did. And I did do jobs, like, you know, for money, but I don't know, I just wanted to try and do my thing, you know. And I didn't want money, you know, I didn't want to just, like, to me, the priority was to try to do my thing, you know, whatever that is or was, you know. Rather than to think, oh, I need to make a certain amount of money and then I need to, you know, which then, you know, like, because I don't care about, I mean, I do care about money, I want to have money I want to have a lot, I mean, I'd like to have lots of money, you know, but I don't, but I only want money, like, I just want to work, you know, and do my work, or try to do my work. I want to try and do new things and stuff, you know. So to have a bit of money helps to do that. You know, so I'd like to have enough money to be able to work, you know, which I do at the moment. But I fear always that I wouldn't have in the future, you know. Because that's the problem with doing your own work, is that, you know, you don't know what, you know, it could, you know, and I guess it's a problem with most jobs anyway, because they might just stop the next year, but I don't know. Yeah. But also I think I don't know. I think I was quite blinkered and stubborn, you know. Quite stupid, you know. Like I just wanted to, like I had some kind of like, oh, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that. You know, I was quite angry or something like that, you know. So I didn't want to do anything else really. So, but so that's what. Yeah, But then I think it's got a lot to do with people. You know, I was in shows like because I got to know people and became friends with them or whatever, and then you know, and then I was so it's a lot. You know, I think to me there's loads of people that are really important in my life. You know, that were nice to me. You know, and friends that were then who became curators who put me in a show. Who you know and so. Like I think that cutting yourself off from other people is probably not really. Well, I think that's probably not the way to go. You know. there's this song that I just was thinking, that's like, you know, God, I'd hate to think that I'm trying to give advice, you know, 'cause I wouldn't, I don't know. I was thinking, someone said, you know, someone said recently, what advice would you have, you know, for a young artist? And I thought, do what you're scared of. That's what I think that's good advice. The songs are pre-planned, you know, obviously, but sometimes they change slightly in the performance, you know, but I've tried, you know, pre-planning words, but for some reason I can't, I don't know, maybe because I feel like I can't act, you know, I'd be like, you know, so it'd be like acting or something, but for sure. But I do think that using words, like writing words, is also very different from speaking them, you know. And I think that the good thing about talking live is that it's like the words with the body, you know, like the words coming out of the body, not just on the paper, you know. Because that's kind of where the running piece came from thinking that, you know, if you take, like, that was another reason that led to the running work that I showed you there, that I was trying to take away, kind of I was trying to make a really basic thing, you know, that was like without superfluous stuff, you know. And I was thinking that everything you do, like if you make a painting, you know, first of all you've got to be able to move, you know. So moving is what you need to do first. It's like the first thing, you know, to be alive, you know. And so I thought, oh yeah, so then I thought I should try and make a work with people moving, you know, forget about extra materials, but try and make it work with the human body, you know. And that's what led to that's what led to the running piece. But the more I, you know, the more I work and live, the more I think that, like, you know, I am, you know, it's not, you know, my body does things, like I was saying, like I'm not really that in control necessarily, you know. And it's hard. I think you can't, you know, you can't separate the heart from the mind and from the gut, you know. It's all mixed up, you know. But the thing about and I think the thing, you know, I think like the most difficult thing in life is like trying to deal with what comes out of you, you know. And especially things like shit and vomit, you know. But even more difficult than that, dealing with feelings that come, bad feelings, you know, that come out of you. That's much more difficult to deal with than shit, you know. Or sick. But those things that come out, yeah, they kind of, so like, but so talking is like I mean, I think the problem with singing is that, I think that the problem with, like, I find it really difficult, like I try and write songs because I want to try and like make like a song somehow like I want to make some sounds. Like sculpture is shapes that kind of make me feel better, like a kind of comfort, you know, like a sort of like a bit of order or something like that. So with a song, it's like that. I think like trying to make something that helps me, you know. Like, because I know it's there, those notes in that order are there, and it's like something to hold on to, you know. But the difficulty, I think, with making music, like making songs with like melodies and notes, is that what comes up, like for me, like what comes up is more like groans, you know, rather than tones, you know. And then so if the original like feeling to do something is more like, you know, like that. You know, if you jump too quickly from that to, you know, singing a note, the leap, if the leap's too quick, it's like it just is like some kind of artificial bollock song, you know. And that happens, I think, in all work. Like I think the thing is to try and make the groans into the song, or to make whatever the visual equivalent of a groan is into a visual work, you know, without this without jumping too quickly up to attaching it to some, you know, I don't know, something like that, you know. I don't know how I started it, but yeah. Oh yeah, music and talking. And so, but maybe with talking, you know, it is more, you can kind of groan more. You know, more. Well, I guess you can groan in a song, is not, you know. But I think there's a danger with music. I see it as that, you know. It's the same with visual works. Like if you think you've got to like polish things or you know, and make them, you know, all, like sometimes it just, you know, it's like just goes further and further away from whatever it was in the first place. You know?
So it's more like a raw expression of your emotions rather than something that's been.
Well, that's what I would like to try to. But I think that it's not. I want to do it more. I'd like to try and do what I'm talking about, like get from the groan to the tone,
Yeah.
in a more direct route than I ever have before. Because I think, I've in the middle bit there, between the thing that makes you want to do what you want to do, the drive or the like, I want to do that, and the feeling and the end result, all in that middle space. There's so much room for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of room for like just thinking, just like thinking. So to just be trying, to try and be more direct is what I would like to do. And that's what I'm trying to work on.
Maybe you could get direct from one space to another by concentrating on single sounds, like you did then when you were like or or things like that.
That is how that, yeah, that is what that is. I suppose that's what I was trying to do there.
I think you got that, Appa. I think it worked. Sorry.
Any questions?
I've got a question.
Was there much time between this song, Think Twice, and the I Like Everything? Was there much time between those because they're quite a strong contrast, or is it because Think Twice is about offering out something to others and the other one was more personal?
There is quite a lot of time, you mean, between writing those? Yeah. The one, Think Twice, or My Advice, that one, is quite a new one, or very new, that I've been working on just in the last 6 months. And I Like Things was quite an old one. Right. But yeah, that reminds me that but is that but is it time to? I suppose it's nearly. This, I made that it says everything is going to be alright because I just before the first one of those I made just before that I'd been working on some really negative works. And so I thought, oh God, I need to try and be positive. And then I think often it's like that, a bit like that. You work on one thing and then just try and do something different. That's what I don't like. I like trying to do different things because working in one medium, I find that it's like, oh no, but I don't believe in this really that much. So I try and do something else.
Even though you work in lots of different mediums, is there usually like a theme that brings you from one to the next one? You know what I mean? So if you decide to do something like that, then you just do something
it's usually like a bit of a reaction problem, I'd imagine. But a lot maybe like with making sound or music stuff. I think that you can't separate. If you look at something, you can't separate the visual and the audible. So when you look at something, you're always hearing something. When you're hearing something, you're always seeing something. So I can't separate them in me. So I think, and I've spent a lot of time working on visual stuff and some time working on audio stuff, but I feel like I need to spend more time on that because I feel like, I haven't been spending enough time on that, because that's half of life, So it's more like that, something like that,
So after you've completed a work, what kind of, because you're talking about, then you're thinking maybe about the next one or how you feel about that. Is your relationship very ambivalent with your work? And do you then sort of look at it and...
Do I then what?
Do you have a relationship with your work when you finished it?
Yeah, well, I do feel quite ambivalent about it.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah. I often don't like, I mean, I quite like works that I can carry around in my head. So, because then, you know, I don't have to look at them. and you know, so, and I think I've made a lot of works that I can carry around in my head, you know.
So would that be words and music?